It's March 9th, 2026, and last night, Russia unleashed one of the most complex aerial maneuvers of the entire war. But this wasn't just about explosions and intercepts. No, this was an attack based on pure mathematics. The strategy behind it reveals a shocking new reality for global security, and you're gonna want to stay till the end, because the math I'm about to break down is a complete game changer. Let's get into it.
You've probably been seeing these two words popping up everywhere today: ballistic and hydraulic. They might seem unrelated, but trust me, they are the absolute key to understanding a strategy that's designed not just to win on the battlefield, but to actually bankrupt the nations that are funding the defense.
So what happened over Ukraine yesterday wasn't just another drone swarm, not even close. It was a meticulously calculated, multi-layered feint. While the entire world was watching the skies, high-precision missiles were screaming towards the heart of Kryvyi Rih. This is a story about deception, brutal economics, and a full frontal assault on Ukraine's very last line of defense, the Patriot system.
Okay, let's start with the sheer scale of that first wave. 197 drones. I mean, that is just a staggering number. And it was designed to do one thing and one thing only: completely overwhelm Ukraine's air defense network. Just imagine the radar screens. Hundreds of hostile blips coming in from all directions. It's a literal storm of steel and circuitry.
Now, the Ukrainian Air Force's response was, on the surface, just incredible. They confirmed they downed 161 of those drones. That's an amazing feat of skill and coordination from the operators on the ground who were working all through the night to keep their cities safe.
And this is the number you're going to see in all the headlines: an 81.7% success rate. That sounds like a clear, decisive victory, doesn't it? It really looks like Ukraine just shrugged off a massive attack. But is that the whole story? What if I told you that every single one of those 161 successful shootdowns was actually a small win for Russia's real strategy?
Because this was all about deception. You see, the main goal of that massive drone swarm wasn't to hit 197 different targets. No, it was designed to be the largest, most expensive piece of bait in modern warfare. It was all about drawing out Ukraine's defenses and forcing them to show their hand.
Now, for this first layer of the attack, the economics are really interesting. These Geron 3 drones Russia is using are cheap. We're talking about $30,000 apiece. So, when Ukraine uses a Gepard or a NASM system to shoot one down, that's a good trade. It's a cost-effective win. But here's the thing: Russia knows this, and they were counting on it.
So the real goal of those 197 drones was to force every single air defense radar, from Kyiv to Odessa, to light up, to track targets, and to fire everything they had. Russia wanted to make Ukraine burn through a massive chunk of its weekly ammo supply just to get through the night. It's a war of attrition. But it's not being fought over territory, it's being fought over stockpiles.
And while everyone was looking up at the sky, Russia executed part 2 of its plan, the hydraulic attack. They used a concept from engineering called cascading failure theory. The idea is simple, but it's genius. Don't just hit a military target, hit a critical node that creates a domino effect of chaos. And their target of choice? The water infrastructure of Kryvyi Rih.
The effect was just devastating. 8 missiles slammed into the dam, and the Inhalets River began to rise almost immediately. Within hours, 112 homes were flooded. But here's the critical part: this pulled emergency services and military engineering units away from the front lines. They had to deal with a brand new enemy, a rising river. Russia literally forced Ukraine to fight a war against nature itself.
And that brings us to the third, and honestly the most critical part of this entire strategy. After using cheap drones to drain the low-tier air defenses and creating a crisis on the ground with the dam strike, Russia brought out the real killers, the high-value assets. This is where the economic war really, truly begins.
The Institute for the Study of War has been flagging this for a while now. Russia is systematically upping the percentage of advanced Zircon hypersonic and Iskander-M ballistic missiles in every single attack. And why? Well, because these can't be stopped by the same systems that took down the drones. To stop a ballistic missile, you need the absolute best of the best. You need a Patriot.
And this right here, this is the brutal, unsustainable math of 2026. An Iskander-M missile cost Russia about $2.5 million to fire. But the interceptor needed to shoot it down, a single Patriot PAC-3 missile, cost the West around $4 million. Think about that. Every single time Ukraine successfully defends itself from one of these, it loses the economic battle. It's a tactical win that is a strategic financial loss.
And this all leads to Russia's ultimate goal:
a term we all need to get familiar with: air defense insolvency. It is the strategic breaking point. It's that moment when a country literally has more missiles and drones coming at it than it has interceptors left in its warehouses. Russia is betting it can push Ukraine to that exact point before the West can resupply them. They are trying to bankrupt the defense.
But this strategy, it's not happening in a vacuum. This regional tactic of Patriot depletion is creating an absolute geopolitical nightmare on a global scale. It's putting immense pressure on world powers and forcing them to make some really impossible choices. I mean, just look at the United States. It's now facing a two-front stockpile crisis. On one side, you've got Ukraine burning through Patriot interceptors just to hold the line in the Donbass. And on the other, the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran is demanding those exact same missiles. There is a finite number of these interceptors in the world, and two critical conflicts are demanding all of them at the same time.
Now think about a country like India, which has tried so hard to stay neutral. This Middle East-Ukraine fusion is making that position almost impossible to hold. Oil prices are at $114 a barrel because of the instability, and that's crushing their economy. The threat of Ukraine's front collapsing could mean a massive spike in global food prices, and they're getting immense pressure from both sides to pick a team. The economic shockwaves from this strategy are going truly global.
So, with this incredibly complex attack now fully in motion, what are the key things we need to be watching over the next 24 to 48 hours to see where this whole thing is headed?
All right, 3 things. First, keep your eyes on the Inhulets water level. If those dams at Kryvyi Rih fail completely, that signals a major humanitarian crisis that will pull even more Ukrainian resources off the front. Second, the Zircon frequency. If Russia launches another ballistic heavy attack tonight, then this whole theory of a deliberate Patriot depletion strategy is basically confirmed. And finally, the Geneva talks. You have to wonder, are these strikes just a brutal form of diplomacy designed to force negotiations on Moscow's terms before the spring mud clears?
Which brings us to the final, chilling question that this entire operation really asks. Forget about territory for a minute. Forget front lines. Is this whole complex and brutal strategy actually an attempt to bankrupt the West into submission? To win this war not by breaking the Ukrainian army, but by breaking the West's will to keep paying the $4 million price tag for every single successful defense? The world is moving incredibly fast right now, but the data does not lie. Russia is clearly desperate for a breakthrough, and it seems they're willing to drown cities and drain the West bank accounts to get it. For more analysis like this, make sure you subscribe. We're watching the maps, the markets, and the missiles so you don't have to. Thanks for watching.